What's up, everybody? It's Amy, and I'm here today with a fall watercolor. I'm painting this tree that I saw on my run this week. I thought it would be a really fun thing to paint. I'm using watercolor and some gouache colors, which is a more opaque acrylic paint, but you could also use acrylic. So I'm going to show you a new process that I use using these different types of media. Okay guys, we're going to start by creating a beautiful bright blue sky. So I'm going to grab a larger brush. I'm going to use a lot of water on my paper. So I'm just going to paint the paper with water. This is going to be my first step. And you'll notice your water will start to dry as you're painting. So you'll just have to kind of keep re-wetting it until you get the paper fairly wet. I'm going to do a wet on wet watercolor sky for the background of this painting. I took this picture on a run this past week, and I just loved how bright red against the bright blue sky looked. So I decided we had to paint it. So here we are today. I'm going to grab some blue, and I'm really just going to go crazy with blues on my already wet paper here. Just add lots and lots of pigment, different areas. Allow it to bleed. It's okay that it's bleeding out like that. That's fine. That's good. It makes it look more like a sky. So I'm moving pretty quickly here, but the gist of it is paint your paper with water and then start adding in blues. What I love about painting skies is you really do not have to focus too hard on painting the sky. You just let it all blend together. Okay, and you can even break it up with a smaller brush. You want to start adding a little more dimension here. Still using the same color blue, darker blue and lighter blue, but now I'm just using a more vertical stroke. And I'm just moving pretty quick because I want it to blend all together. If yours isn't blending enough, go ahead and add more water. All right, we have a nice background watercolor sky by blending the two blues with a lot of water. I'm going to go ahead and allow this to dry for about 20 or 30 minutes. So after that's dry, I'll meet you back at the table. All right, guys, so something that I like to do is paint gouache over watercolor. So now that my sky is dry, I'm going to grab a couple of oranges and reddish colors, yellows, maybe even some green, and I'm going to add these really bright red leaves, these really fall, beautiful leaves that I saw on my run. So the thing about gouache is It dries quickly and it's really opaque. I like to use it over watercolor because watercolor is almost the perfect background for it. And then the gouache really pops off against the watercolor. So I'll show you what I mean. And actually, this is going to be the tops of the tree. So I think I will start with a little brown and go ahead and make a base for us. So I'm going to start out making some branches. You can sort of do yours at any location. This painting is going to capture the top of this tree. So I'm just adding a few branches. And I'm going to add a real basic trunk. Now again, the gouache dries really quickly, so you have to kind of keep moving with it. You can also water it down a little bit. It's quite thick. I like working with it though because it covers really well. There's no need to do a ton of coats. Okay, so I've got a little basis of the tree. I'm not going to do a ton of the background today. I'm just really going to focus on these beautiful red leaves. They've also got tinges of oranges and yellows, so we'll add a little bit more detail later, but we'll start with some red. Let's see what red this is. This one is called Red Bloom, and very similar to that, Vermilion. Okay, so Vermilion red. Now to make these leaves stand out, I'm just going to work very carefully and methodically on the tree, making tons of small leaves. All right, so I'm going to let that dry and then we'll come back and add a few more colors. Okay guys, so the gouache has had a chance to dry. It's mostly dry. What I am liking about this painting so far is the bright contrast, but I feel like it needs to be more expressive because when I took this picture, I was just totally captured by the brilliance of the red to the against the blue sky. So what I'm going to do to be a little more expressive, normally I may finish this with adding some more layers of gouache on top of this, which I might still, but I want it to feel a little more expressive, so I think I'm going to add some watercolor. So on my brush, I'm going to grab a bit of orange, and I'm just going to liven this guy up a little bit, making it more artistic, breaking up this just a bit. I probably will need to add more gouache after I'm done with this. And this is just giving it that clumpy fall look of leaves. And the leaves are bunching up and we're really starting to see them fall off. Now, if you wanted to make it even more expressive, you could grab some water. Let me see if I have a water brush here. Okay, here's my brush pen. So if you want to make it a little more expressive, you can drip out some water. Go ahead and start blending your gouache out just a bit. I don't want to go overboard on this because I do like the detail of the tree, but making it a bit more expressive by adding more water. All right. Okay, so I'm liking that. So I'm going to leave it. I don't want to go too far here. Maybe a few drops. Little blending. Okay, liking that. All right, now I'm going to let that dry one more time. I'm going to come back in with a little yellow and finish this off. All right, guys, now I'm going to add a bit more detail with some more gouache and different colors. I'm going to add some yellows just at the tips of some of the leaves to brighten up this picture. I'm going to add some different yellows and a bit of green so it really just gets that fall vibe. Alright guys, so I'm finishing up now and I like how this painting is turning out. It's a little bit more expressive with the watercolor and the gouache combination, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you might have learned a little something to use on your next painting. So I will be back with another video soon and I hope you have a great day.